listening to KCFB Ferguson, 89.5 The Wave, and this is Fear the Dead Air, with your host, JazzHandss.
When civilization ends, it ends fast.
That is right, you are listening to the one, the only Fear the Dead Air here on 89.5 The Wave. I am your host, your friendly neighborhood DJ, JazzHandss, here to talk about last Sunday's good, kind of a step back, but good, Fear the Walking Dead episode. So, spoilers are ahead, be prepared for that, because spoilers abound in this review, analysis, a little bit of prediction, seeing what's going to happen with the season. And, you know, just to kind of dive right in, the episode's name was Pile of Salt. Pillar of Salt, I apologize. I don't really understand what the reference is. Normally, title names and stuff, you can kind of get an idea of what the episode's going to be about. And that one, I guess maybe the hotels, that's what they're talking about. But another really good episode, honestly. It was action-packed. It was suspenseful at times. I will say, though, plot-wise, the plot kind of seemed a little bit forced. Though the motive was there for the woman to stab Strand. That was there. The mom of the daughter who Strand killed the previous episode. There was motive there. It's understandable, but there was no real proper build-up to it. And I know sometimes I say, well, you don't really need build-up to make something good. It can kind of just happen. Which, that's fine. But for this, or at least something like this, that build-up and that suspense would have been better, I feel, for this type of situation, because when she opened the door, or when Strand opened the door and she just stabbed him, it wasn't as, to me at least, it wasn't as shocking as I think they thought it was going to be. And it was just kind of like, stab, you killed my daughter, okay, bye. And then she's gone, and we don't see her through the rest of the episode. We don't see Madison confronting her at all. We don't see anybody really confronting her about what she did. So it was like, it was that, and then like the connections with the hotel people and the cartel that Nick deals with. It's like there was that connection there, and it just to me it just seemed like they're trying really hard to now find a way to bring the group back together and connect these dots that could have been separated and kind of by circumstance happen upon each other. But yeah, it's kind of meh on the plot, I felt, just a bit. But either way, it was nice to actually see Ophelia, find out what happened to her, how she did steal the truck, and she did take off, which, granted, I said, it would have been more shocking if she fell off the roof and we looked down and that was the end of her story. But it is nice to see her. It's nice to know she's still around and kicking. It was interesting to see her whole backstory with her fiance. I like that. I like that we actually got to see the kind of like the mental dilemma that she was facing. And because she's one of those people who has to constantly take care of somebody. I mean, she spent her entire life taking care of her parents. And once when somebody who devotes their entire life to taking care of somebody loses that person or those people, that person starts feeling useless. So it was kind of nice to see kind of her dilemma with that. And from what I think, because it looks like she's heading off to either New Mexico to find her husband or America. I wasn't really sure which one she was going to, but it looks like she is after her husband. And I mean, like I said, it makes sense for Ophelia, just because she needs somebody to take care of, and so now her own group can take care of themselves. So she feels even more useless. At least that's what I'm getting off. She feels even more useless within this group. So the only other thing she can do is to find that other person who she loved and cared about and see if they're still alive, and maybe they can start, life together in that little house. Maybe. I seriously think though something's going to happen and she's going to get sucked back into the group. That it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Now, kind of back to the overall thoughts. I liked the hotel part. The hotel part was actually really, really cool that we got to see the hotel kind of thrive. And we get to see it like active, like actually acting like a city. We get to see the people fishing, which was cool. I wouldn't fish off that pier just in case of a walker, me personally. But it was really cool to see. I like that they were getting the electricity going. So it's like this hotel is still giving you such cool ideas, and it's such an interesting, cool little base, and I really hope they fortify it. Now, the one scene, okay, I don't know what the heck was up with the surfing scene. It's like, come on, you're in the zombie apocalypse, you're training, I can understand, like training, like, okay, I need to train my body to fight. I need to learn how to swim just in case the pier, something happens and I have to swim my way to safety. I can understand that, 100%. But like surfing, it's like, what are you going to do, ride the waves to safety? Ride the waves all the way to Hawaii, and I don't know, it was just kind of like a goofy scene. And it's sad because Alicia had such character growth in this episode, and that one moment was just kind of like, eh. And she's had such character growth throughout these last couple episodes. Like, she's becoming a really strong character. And I'll openly 100% admit it. She is becoming one of my favorite characters, hands down. And if you were to ask me, part A of the season, is Alicia your favorite character? I would have said no, she needs to die. Now I'm really starting to like her. They're doing something right with her, and it's becoming fun for me. And I'm hoping that she becomes a stronger character. And her character development in this episode was pretty good. How she stood up to Madison at the end with the lights, and how she pretty much was just like, hey, I'm here. As well as taking care of Strand when after he got stabbed in her bedside manner. I loved the scene between her and Strand. To just see them kind of getting along is nice. It's nice. But Alicia, I really think that she's becoming such a stronger character in this world, and I'm excited to see where her whole story arc kind of goes from here. But speaking of Madison, her character development in this episode was such a letdown. It was such a letdown. She took one step forward and then 2 steps back. I really, really liked after Strand was stabbed, how she kind of took charge, and she's like, okay, look, this goes for everybody. You hurt somebody, you kill somebody, that's it, you're out. We're going to have rules and regulations. And she like had that look, and I'm like, that's our leader. That's our leader. That's Madison, our leader. And I loved it. It was such a good moment. And then Nick kind of came back in her mind, and she completely lost it. Went all Mama Bear, ran up there, almost ruined the deal to save Strand, who, as of right now, is a way more better asset than Nick. It was just such a step back, and it's like, Madison, come on. Nick doesn't even want to be around this group anymore. He doesn't want to be around you or his sister or anybody. He wants to do his own thing. He wants to walk around and, I don't know, be an idiot. Let's just say it. And so, why are you still trying to get him to come back? To like, no, trust me. Hey, if he sees this, he'll come and we'll talk and blah, blah, blah. It's like, I understand the parent side a little bit. I mean, I'm not a parent myself, but I kind of understand not wanting to give up on your child, and I can understand that. But you can't jeopardize other people's safety just because he's your kid. And I really think we're going to get to that with Chris and Travis. I think we're going to kind of come that overall story of taking kind of responsibility for your kid in a certain way, or realizing that this kid's their own person, and you need to kind of let them go and do their own choices. You can still have hope that they'll come back and hope that they'll say sorry, but if it doesn't happen, then you have to be prepared for that too, because they're your kid. All you have to do is hope for the best. And it's just such a step back for Madison. I really think that something happened in their past. I think something happened in their past where either Madison was on substance abuse or something while she was pregnant with Nick. and it kind of devolved into something where he became an addict like that. And that's why she's so over-the-top protective. It's obsessive over Nick to the point where you're going to put not only your life in danger, the life of your translator, and the life of one of your closest friends who, let's face it, if you died and he died, I think Alicia's going to become a strong character, but not yet. And everybody else would just be devastated. And that's what she's not thinking of. And it's such a step back, and it's annoying to me. She needs to let Nick go, and I really hope that her character arc becomes better, because I really thought we could put this aside. And as a character now, watching it, I can't trust her. I can't trust her. Once when somebody says something about Nick popping up, that's going to be it. She's going to go up the hinges again, and that's... I just hope it doesn't come to that. But either way, we're going to be taking a quick break here on 89.5 The Waves, Fear the Dead Air. We'll be back with more of the review/analysis of last Sunday's Fear the Walking Dead episode. Stay tuned.
Fear the Dead Air is taking a little break. Don't worry, we'll be back. Like the dead rising, we are back. You are listening to Fear the Dead Air, only on 89.5 The Wave.
That is right, you are listening to Fear the Dead Air here on 89.5 The Wave. I'm your host, your friendly neighborhood DJ, JazzHandss, here to talk about last Sunday's epic Fear the Walking Dead. A lot of stuff happened at the Colonia this episode as well. Nick kind of going behind Alejandro to try to make the drug deal because he wants to protect the town. I found that kind of interesting just because Alejandro's the type of person. I'm going to get into Alejandro, but Alejandro's the type of person that I think Nick respects quite a lot. And for him to go behind both him and Luciana's back to try to make this deal for the Colonia because he's got that back feeling. Granted, he knows, I think, how drug dealers work. He knows how gangs like that work from experience. So for him to do that is actually kind of a big step for Nick. And I think that might make him possibly become one of the leaders. Granted, he went about it the right way. I felt... trying to convince Alejandro and Luciana, hey, we need to do this. They're not going to stop. They're going to get pissed. We need to get these, drugs to them. And of course, once when all that failed, he went behind their back. And of course, now it looks like it's a little bit too late. So, but we'll see what happens with Nick. He's not my favorite character anymore. He has a lot of flaws, which. So that's not bad for a character to have. Just for me, he went from like, oh yeah, I really like this guy to, but I do like him and Luciana's relationship, where it's clear she is definitely the boss of the relationship, and it's gonna be fun. I still think she's tricking him. I still think that's a test, and that she's testing him to see what he will and won't do. For maybe her or the Colonia or whatever. I still think it's a test, but I'm interested to see where their relationship heads in the near future. I digress. Now, on to Alejandro. Alejandro's mindset through this entire episode was really nice to watch. It's clear that he's losing control a little bit of his Colonia. I still think that in the Colonia there's some shady stuff going on that we don't know about yet that Alejandro's doing. And then maybe Nick might not know why. That's why people are leaving. But Alejandro's mindset right now is pretty interesting. I kind of like that he's breaking down, that he's getting super defensive, almost like how Madison is. She's trying so hard to protect Nick, and he's trying so hard to protect this Colonia that he wants people to follow him by blind faith. And I believe somebody on Talking Dead said it the best, that he wants people to follow him with blind faith, but he's not doing anything at all to gain people's trust. He's using those kind of tactics, and it's starting to, I think, scare people. I still think that there's something shady going on, but his mindset of slowly losing his colonia and his devolving into anger and frustration, and I could see Alejandro going two ways. He's either going to be like Herschel, if he humbles up, or he's going to be like the governor if he doesn't. If they survive the attack from the supermarket survivors / cartel. But yeah, Alejandro's a definitely interesting character, and I'm kind of I'm wanting to see where he goes and how dark he's willing to go. I mean, is he willing to kill somebody that goes against him with his bare hands and not just feed him to the wall? The stuff that's going on in the Colonia, it's interesting, but to me, it's kind of boring. I'm not saying that like it's boring in and of itself. It's interesting, but for me, I don't care about it. I hate to say that. The characters to me are just kind of, here we go. It might be because I don't like Nick as much, but I'm more interested in the stuff going on with Alicia and Ophelia and Madison and stuff like that. I'm more interested to see where they're going, what their stories are about. And Nick, it's kind of like I've gotten annoyed with Nick to where he keeps surviving, he keeps getting himself out of situations, and he keeps getting more cockier, and it's like, I don't like that kind of attitude. I don't like that kind of survival list in this type of world, and a lot of the characters are interesting. I'm excited to see where they go, but as of right now, I'm just kind of like the Colonia stuff. I'm like, let's get back to the hotel. That's just me, though. I can understand why people would absolutely love the Colonia parts, but for me, I'm just kind of like, eh. But yeah, I don't find the story as engaging as with, like I said, the hotel or Travis and Chris's journey. And I mean, speaking of Travis, a little reveal at the end. Now, Travis looks like he went through hell and back in this next coming episode, and I'm excited to see. So I'm wondering if it's going to be a flashback of Travis walking up to the hotel, and we're going to see the story about how he fell out with Chris. And I really think he gave up on this kid. I think he gave up on his kid, and I think in this world it's going to be one of those things where if he's a drug dealer, you don't want to give up on him, but because he's becoming a cold-blooded murderer, you kind of have to give up on somebody like that. So I'm excited to see what predictions for these next coming episodes. I think eventually we're going to get to the point where everybody's going to be reunited some way or another. The hotel group and the Colonia group are going to kind of become one. I could see Alejandro definitely having a problem with it, saying, well, we don't need anybody else, and Nick kind of being the medium between the two places, and it's interesting. I'm excited to see where it's going. Because Madison took this huge step back and is so, Nick, I think that she could possibly die. But that's pretty much it for me. So you can check this episode out later at facebook.com/fearthedeadair. That's where I post all my episodes. If any predictions came true or anything, and I would love to hear your thoughts over on this episode as well. So thanks everybody so much for tuning in. I had a blast, and we will see you same time, same place next week.
I challenge you to